This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
The holidays have arrived at the Home Depot, and we're here to help bring the excitement with decor for every part of your home. Check out our wide assortment of easy-to-assemble pre-lit trees so you can spend less time setting up and more time celebrating. And bring your holiday spirit outdoors with unique decor like one of our Santa inflatables. Whatever your style, find the right pieces at the right prices this holiday season at the Home Depot.
Why don't you just introduce yourself? Tell me who you are and what you do.
Ahoy, my name is Jamie Stewart. I play in the band Xiu Xiu.
Mommy rabbit, John does the bummer of habit. Is there a plantain big enough to cave your head in?
One of the coolest things I get to do on this show is talk to people whose lives and work butt up against technological change. One place where that's happening a lot is the music industry. How long have you been making music with Xiu Xiu?
That makes me want to throw up every time I say it, but 22 years.
Wow.
Yes, I feel the same.
How's the music business changed in that period of time? Because those 22 years are like a really significant couple of decades in the way music reaches listeners' ears.
That is true. It's been 2 decades of musicians basically at war with the greed of tech companies.
Jamie and I are roughly the same age. My experience listening to music and their experience making it are sort of inverted mirror images.
When we started, it was kind of at the tail end of physical media like CDs and LPs being the dominant way that people listen to music. And then kind of mid-2000s, there was the rise of klepto program Napster, and then the quasi-klepto program iTunes. And then, those rolled along for a while. Luckily, Napster went away. And then the worst of all, for a long list of reasons, streaming started to become dominant probably about 2016 or something like that. And it remains the main way that people listen to music today.
A model that Jamie and a lot of other artists say vastly undervalues their work and underpays them for it. Here's Chappell Roan at this year's Grammys.
I told myself if I ever won a Grammy and I got to stand up here in front of the most powerful people in music, I would demand that labels and the industry profiting millions of dollars off of artists would offer a livable wage and health care, especially to developing artists.
The giant in the streaming world is, of course, Spotify. Before this summer, do you have any idea how much Xiu Xiu makes from Spotify?
I do, yeah.
Do you want to tell me about it?
I'm not going to discuss my band's finances on the podcast. No, but I will say we took our music off of there a couple months ago, and I will say the money that we make annually from it will be a noticeable loss.
A loss because Xiu Xiu, like a small but growing group of artists, decided to pull their music off Spotify.
When I think about how much money that we do make from it, which is, I'm not going to become houseless because we don't have it, but I'll certainly notice not having it. When I think about how much we make in terms of how many streams we actually get, if we were paid even a penny for each of those streams, it would be almost something like 45 times more money. So Spotify in particular is essentially theft.
Wow. Today on the show, a conversation about why Xiu Xiu left the biggest streaming platform around. I'm Lizzie O'Leary, and you're listening to What Next TBD, a show about technology, power, and how the future will be determined. Stick around. This episode is brought to you by Saks Fifth Avenue. Saks makes it easy to find the perfect gifts and holiday looks that suit your personal style. The holidays can be a lot of things: exciting, relaxing, heartwarming, and yes, sometimes even a little stressful. That's why you need Saks.com. Saks makes holiday shopping easy, stress-free, and most importantly, fun, whether it's for yourself, your family and friends, or even the pickiest person on your list. You can feel confident going into this holiday season knowing that Saks is there to help you find inspiration, curate a holiday wish list, pick out gifts for your loved ones, and have a look ready for whatever might come your way. Whether it's an office holiday party, a cozy night in, or a vacation getaway, Saks has everything you need. If you're looking for shopping to be personalized and easy this holiday season, then head to Saks Fifth Avenue for inspiring ways to shop for everyone on your list. Have you ever wondered about the digital infrastructure that powers today's biggest tech trends? Interconnected, a new podcast series from Equinix, offers a rare look at the technology driving the innovations of tomorrow. From the edge compute and cloud systems to ultra-reliable networks and everything in between. Through candid conversation with industry experts and visionary thinkers, Interconnected's hosts guide you through emerging megatrends in tech, the infrastructure making them possible, and the connected future they're shaping. They dive deep into the systems behind AI, automation, quantum, and beyond. Join the discussion on how society would not be on the verge of an AI-assisted medical renaissance without the near-instantaneous network of interconnected data systems. Discover the digital infrastructure powering today's biggest tech trends with Interconnected. Follow Interconnected on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game, shifting a little money here, a little there, just hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill, too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
I wonder if you could talk me through your decision to pull your music off of Spotify. Like, tell me how that took shape.
We had wanted to do it for a long time because it sounds terrible. The user interface is bad. We didn't ask to be there on the first place. I think streaming just generally is a rotten way to listen to music. I think it makes music totally disposable. I don't think having access to all of recorded history of music makes people care about music more. I think it makes them care about it less because you don't really get a chance to spend any time with anything. If you listen to something you don't like it for 5 seconds, you just move on to the next thing. So music just becomes less and less about making an emotional connection and more about essentially becoming a commercial. We talked to our label about it. The various labels we work with, they're all great people. And they were like, we can do this, but it's going to be a giant pain in the neck. Do you mind just sucking it up? And we're like, okay, well, whatever. It's not, we're a tiny cult band. We really have no leverage against, gigantic corporate streaming platforms. However, when we found out that the money that Spotify was earning by stealing music is then being invested into AI war drones to murder people, that was the final straw. I mean, I could deal with our music essentially being stolen and our, the quality of music generally being diminished. I mean, I can't deal with it, but I can suck it up. But when stolen music is being used to murder people for profit, that was the end of the line for us and several other bands as well.
What Jamie's talking about is Spotify CEO Daniel Ek's investments in defense technology. In June, Ek's venture capital company led a 600 million euro funding round for a German military drone company called Helsing. Ek and his investment company had made their first contributions to Helsing back in 2020, right before the start of the war in Ukraine. I asked Jamie what the conversations were like as they considered this decision.
Fortunately for us, we're all of the main labels that we work with, Polyvinyl, Kill Rock Stars, Stoned to Death, and Graveface, They're all run by wonderful people. We are incredibly lucky that everybody we work with is super honest, politically aware, incredibly supportive. They all said, okay, no problem. It'll take a minute, but we completely understand why you would want to do that.
I read a quote where Daniel Ek said, and then he was talking about Helsing. He said, I'm sure people will criticize it, and that's okay. Personally, I'm not concerned about it. I focus more on doing what I think is right, and I'm 100% convinced that this is the right thing for Europe. What do you think about that response?
There is no arms company in the history of the world that has ever done the right thing. At this moment, Helsing's best customer is Western Europe. The moment sanctions are lifted against Russia, they're going to sell arms to Russia or to Israel. I mean, the second that any arms embargo is lifted, show me one point in history with that there is an arms company that has the interests of the people at heart. This is a businessman who has taken one of the most sacred pursuits in human history, music, the first aesthetic expression humans ever did, the most unifying aesthetic expression of humanity, stolen it, become a billionaire, and then use that money to become an even bigger billionaire by draping himself in the flag of Ukraine in order to murder people and make more money.
So that's a hard no from you.
It's a very hard no. I mean, people who invest in people, I mean, on both sides, anybody who uses the murder of anybody as a justification to make money is on the wrong side of history, and always has been. Being an arms company is not, you are not the good guys ever.
I checked on Spotify before I came in to talk to you, and I noticed there's still some Xiu Xiu music on there. That must be really frustrating given how much thought you have put into this. Like, what goes into actually getting your music off a platform?
We don't have any direct interaction with it. It's with our label reps and their relationships with the distributors. As I said, we've been a band for a million years. We worked on with a ton of labels. Some of them are small, and they try, and some of them are crooks. Any label who still has music of ours is also a label that has never paid us royalties, or who we have directly asked to take it down and they just didn't respond. Anyway, yes, it's very, very frustrating, but there's only so many hours in the day for me to devote to this.
Have any other musicians reached out to you and said, hey, we're thinking about maybe doing this? It feels like there is potentially some sort of critical mass building, even though, as you said, it's smaller bands, maybe not huge headliners, and yet there are a decent number of you.
It does seem to be growing. When it first started, Deerhoof was really the only band that people have heard of who did it, and then it took us a little bit longer to do it. We've been on more labels than Deerhoof has been on, so it was a lot more work to do it. And I kind of thought at the time we had done it that, hundreds of other bands would have done it by then. And I thought no one would care that we did it. They're like, okay, we're one of, 200 theoretical bands or 500 theoretical bands, so I assumed they'd already done this. I didn't realize that almost nobody has done this. But fortunately, in the last few weeks, it does seem to be rolling a little bit. Overall, it's not going to really affect Spotify's bottom line in any way. It's really essentially for our own conscience and to hopefully try to get some small word out that, essentially for music fans, just be aware of where your subscription is going and what your subscription means.
When we come back, Jamie's plea for a better way to listen to music.
When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
Shape the future of enterprise AI with Agency, AGNTCY. Now an open-source Linux Foundation project, Agency is leading the way in establishing trusted identity and access management for the Internet of Agents. The Internet of Agents is the collaboration layer that ensures AI agents can securely discover, connect, and work across any framework. Join industry leaders like Cisco, Dell Technologies, Google Cloud, Oracle, Red Hat, and more than 75 supporting companies to set the standard for secure, scalable AI infrastructure. Empower your company to deploy multi-agent systems with confidence. Is your enterprise ready for the future of agentic AI? Visit agency.org to explore use cases now. That's agntcy.org. How many software as a service applications are being used at your company right now? Can't keep count? You're not alone. Trellico by 1Password helps you discover and secure access to all of your software as a service apps, even unmanaged shadow IT. Trellico by 1Password inventories every app in use at your company. Then the app pre-populates profiles to assess risk, letting you manage access, optimize spend, and enforce security best practices across every app your employees use. Manage shadow IT, securely onboard and offboard employees, and meet compliance goals. 1Password exceeds the standards set by various authorities and is a leader in security. Take the first step to better security for your team by securing credentials and protecting every application, even unmanaged shadow IT. Learn more at onepassword.com/TBD. That's onepassword.com/TBD, all lowercase. It's hard and probably unrealistic to expect people to just toss their Spotify subscriptions. But Jamie's also asking listeners and fans to think about how they approach music in the streaming era.
Streaming as a platform in and of itself, unfortunately, it's just going to be the way that people listen to music. It's the easiest way to do it. But because it's the easiest way to do it, it's also the hardest way to really engage with music meaningfully. You have to really put effort into engaging with music meaningfully. You have to consciously decide, okay, I'm listening to this song. It's not blowing my socks off immediately, but I'm going to make myself listen to the entire thing. Maybe over time it will grow on me. And before the advent of streaming during physical media, and unless you were super rich, you probably own like 20 CDs. So even if you only kind of liked a CD, you had to spend some time with it, or you kind of liked a record. And by spending time with it, it could become a meaningful part of your, emotional and public and physical and spiritual life, depending on how you listen to music. Streaming makes it incredibly difficult to do that. You have to concentrate on not pressing skip. Unfortunately, also, the financial model for streaming pays bands almost nothing. I mean, even massive superstars, who get literally billions of streams complain about how little that they make from them. So, if music is something that's genuinely meaningful for you, it might be a good idea to consider other ways to listen to it. Also, the audio quality on streaming is the lowest it could conceivably be. So there's that, but then there's also where this music has come from and how music is being used is bad for the people who make music, and also in the future will be bad for the people who get murdered by the drones that Spotify is investing in. And I said it before, but music is one of the most, the only really good thing that humans have ever done is culture. They've kind of blown it in every other way, but art and culture is kind of the thing that redeems humanity in any way. And by diluting it and diluting it and diluting it and diluting it, you're essentially diluting the value of what it means to be a person at all. Plus, you pay for people to get murdered so other people can make profit.
So in a way, this move is both a moral choice for you and one that hopefully sends people to a better way to engage with your art.
Well, not our art, but art generally. When it became a moral decision, that was when we couldn't deal with it. When it was just an aesthetic decision, small bands like ours have, been kicked in the teeth by tech companies, like I said, since we started, more or less. So, and that's not going to stop. Capitalism will always roll over cult bands, and always has. But the combination of the dilution of this, and forgive me for being melodramatic, this sacred pursuit, plus it being a fundamental moral decision. When it came to that point, it became impossible to continue with. There is a streaming company called Coda. I mean, I'm not a big fan of streaming at all, but it's just going to be how music works. It's slightly more expensive, but it's still incredibly affordable. I know that the royalty rate that they pay bands is still not spectacular, but it's a million times better than it is. Not a million times better. It's twice what it is for other labels. They're also run by musicians. It's not some tiny percentage of some horrible multinational company. They are aware of how rotten streaming is for bands and how it has again sort of diluted the listening experience. They're trying to work around that and just kind of deal with the reality that streaming is going to be the dominant way that people listen to music, but also try to make it more meaningful for listeners and less of a kick in the teeth for bands.
We reached out to Spotify for comment. While the company wouldn't speak about Daniel Ek's investments in Helsing, a spokeswoman did say that Spotify is talking with artists who've left the platform and would leave the door open to any who want to return. In addition, she said that last year, independent artists generated approximately half of the $10 billion Spotify paid out to rights holders. This show, my show, has a tech focus, and I'm really struck listening to you. I'm reminded of a conversation I had with Laura Jane Grace last year about the dominance of Ticketmaster and Live Nation. And in some ways, there's a parallel here, which is just the music with giant tech company or giant company as intermediary. And I wonder, as an artist, like how you think about how that arrangement came to be, how these massive companies came to control what you are rightly saying is like one of the most primal things that humans do and have always done.
I mean, it hasn't just happened in music. I mean, it's happened generally across the board in the last 20 years. I mean, the dominance of tech companies exists in every single field that there is.
Is this your small way of pushing back?
I mean, the big picture. It's the biggest way that we can push back, but again, we are the smallest of small fries.
What would you say to other bands who are, deliberating internally right now about whether or not they should be doing something like what you're doing?
I went through a long period of openly talking shit about other bands by name, and it made me realize how uncool that was. So I'm always a little bit hesitant to give any bands advice about anything. It's really got to be an individual choice. And also, a lot of bands, it's not up to them. I mean, the deal that their labels may have with a distributor may completely prevent them from being able to do it. I don't have any advice for anybody. I don't think it's really any of my business to tell other bands what to do. But that really just comes from years about saying how shitty I thought of a lot of other bands, where it just makes me want to keep my mouth shut in regards to other bands across the board about anything.
Jamie Stewart, thank you so much for talking with me.
Oh, it was really, really nice to talk to you. I thanks for making the time.
Jamie Stewart makes music with the band Xiu Xiu. All right, that is it for our show today. What Next TBD is produced by Patrick Fort and Paige Osborne. Our show is edited by Evan Campbell. Mia Lobel is the executive producer here at Slate, and TBD is part of the larger What Next family. We'll be back next week with more episodes. I'm Lizzie O'Leary. Thanks for listening.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu? Is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Every minute your finance team spends wrestling with data is a minute lost. Insight Software's AI-powered insights instantly move you from complexity to clarity. Automated analysis, real-time reporting, strategic recommendations, all at your fingertips. Transform how your finance team works and watch your business grow. Stop wasting time. Start making smarter decisions. Learn more at insightsoftware.com/AI.